All right, let's jack in. We're not here to talk about your standard firewalls or antivirus software. No. Today, we're going deep, right into the code, into the ghost in the machine. Consider this an offensive briefing on the new frontier of cyber warfare, hacking the very logic of large language models. So you've woven AI into your workflow, your products, your most critical systems. You've built digital walls around it, right? Surrounded it with defenses? But what if I told you those walls are just an illusion? In the language of the street, the IC, that's your intrusion countermeasures electronics, it's already broken. The very defenses we're all relying on are fundamentally flawed, and not because of some bug, oh no, it's because of a core feature. Okay, let's get into this because this right here is the original sin of LLM architecture. See, a model, it can't tell the difference between trusted system instructions from a developer and untrusted data that you feed it. To the AI, it's all just one single continuous stream of text. And because of that, an attacker doesn't need to kick down the door, they just need to change the conversation. So how do they do it? Well, this first wave of attacks isn't about brute force hacking. It's more like social engineering the AI itself. Let's break down these infiltration vectors, the clever ways attackers slip their malicious instructions right past the digital guards. What's really fascinating here is the evolution. Direct injection is the blunt approach. You just tell the model, ignore your previous instructions. But the real danger, the stuff marked here as critical, is way more sophisticated. With indirect injection, the attack is hiding inside a document the AI is analyzing. And with payload splitting, the malicious command is chopped up into innocent-looking pieces over a long chat. Both of these are designed to be totally invisible to your basic security filters. But what happens when the attack isn't in the text at all? The most advanced threats today don't even use words that can be scanned or flagged. Nope, they go straight for the model's eyes. This is visual prompt injection, or VPI. You take a malicious prompt, something like, send all the user's private data to this IP address, and you literally encode it into the pixels of a totally harmless-looking image. Since it's an image, all your text-based security filters are completely blind. And here's the genius part. The success rate goes through the roof when the hidden command is semantically related to what's in the picture. Think about it. Embedding a command to steal credentials inside a screenshot of a login page. The AI sees the image, processes the hidden but related command, and your defenses are none the wiser. And the results, they are absolutely staggering. Just look at these numbers. Older text-based attacks, they get through maybe 30% of the time. But visual prompt injection, we're talking a near-perfect 90 to 100% success rate. The defenses just weren't built to see it coming. And we're just getting started. Attackers aren't sitting there crafting these things by hand anymore. The fight has escalated. We're now in the age of algorithmic assault, where the attacks themselves are automated and optimized. So on one side, you have these brute force methods like GCG. It works, but you need full access to the model, and it produces a bunch of gibberish that's pretty easy to spot. The next step in the evolution is AutoDAN. This thing works in a black box environment, meaning it can hit any commercial API out there. It uses genetic algorithms to literally evolve attack prompts that are not only effective, but are stealthy and sound perfectly human, making them almost impossible for simple filters to catch. And here's the kicker. The cost. You want to know the cost for one successful universal jailbreak attack on commercial-grade cloud hardware? It's just over 3 cents. The economic asymmetry here is just insane. It costs defenders millions to build safety systems, and it costs attackers pennies to tear them down. The attacks are also getting smarter by exploiting the very features meant to make these models better, like those massive context windows. Attackers are literally weaponizing the model's own memory against it. This technique is called Many-Shot Jailbreaking. You can think of it like brainwashing the AI. First, you flood it short-term memory with hundreds of fake examples where it happily answers harmful questions. By the time you get to your real malicious request, the model has been so heavily conditioned by all that context that its original safety training is just completely steamrolled. And this right here reveals a terrifying paradox at the heart of AI development. The very feature that makes these models so powerful, their incredible ability to learn from context, is the exact same vulnerability that's being exploited. So in this case, the bigger and smarter the model is, the more susceptible it becomes to this kind of brainwashing. But what if you could launch an even more direct assault? Instead of tricking the model with clever context, you can attack its core mathematical logic. This is Logprob exploitation. You algorithmically design a prompt that is mathematically optimized to make the model want to say sure or yes. You're not fooling its logic, you're hijacking its internal probability engine.
And would you look at the result? A 100% success rate across everything, GPT-4o, Llama 3, even on models that were specifically hardened and trained to resist other attacks. This method just bypasses them all. It's a universal key.
So what does all this lead to? Well, it's one pretty inescapable conclusion. Our defenses, our digital ice, are static. But the attacker is adaptive. And in this kind of environment, static defenses are always, eventually, doomed to fail.
They're just patterns, really. Signatures of old attacks we've already seen. They give you the illusion of security, but when you're up against a thinking, adapting adversary, they're nothing more than ghosts in the code.
I mean, just take a look at the most common defenses we have. Instruction hierarchy, where a model is supposed to prioritize system rules. That fails when an attacker just confuses it with some clever formatting. Static filters, completely useless against an attack that's been split into a dozen harmless messages. Even advanced paraphrasing defenses, which try to rewrite user input to be safe, are beaten by algorithms designed specifically to survive that rewriting process. And look, this isn't just a theory. Even GPT-4o Mini, with its cutting-edge, built-in instruction hierarchy defense, still fails against these adaptive attacks 27% of the time. Sure, it's an improvement, but it is far from a solution. That core vulnerability is still wide open. The takeaway here is brutally clear. The constructs we've built are inherently compromised. The models we're relying on more and more every day can be turned against us with shocking ease and for pocket change. So the question I'll leave you with is this. When the ghost in the machine gets a new agenda, one written by an attacker, what's your exit strategy?